And welcome. If you're watching this video, congratulations! You've just made one of the best decisions of your life.
You ever been watching a movie or talking to a native English speaker and just felt completely lost? Even though you know all the words they're saying, it's a super common feeling. And today, we're going to crack the code on why that happens. We're going to find the keys to understanding fast, natural English.
So on one hand, you've got the English you learned in a textbook. I could not have tried harder. It's perfectly clear, totally correct. But then, in the real world, you hear something that sounds a lot more like this. Könnte, tried harder. That is a huge gap, right? And it can be so frustrating. But what if I told you that jump from one to the other isn't random at all?
So what is the secret? I mean, how do all those words get squished together like that? Well, the good news is it's not some kind of magic. There are actual, predictable patterns behind all that speed. And today, we're going to uncover them. Think of this as your official decoder ring for spoken English.
Okay, so our mission starts right here with one single crucial clue. This one concept is basically the key that's going to unlock so much of what you hear in informal, everyday chats.
And here it is, the glottal stop. So what on earth is that? Well, it's that little catch you make in the back of your throat. Instead of saying a really sharp T sound, like in the word button, a lot of times you'll hear a little stop, like button. This happens all the time in fast speech, especially in British English, and it is our first major piece of the puzzle.
Phonetically, it looks kind of like a question mark that's missing its dot. Just try to keep this little symbol, in the back of your mind. You're going to see it pop up over and over again as we start decoding some real examples. It's our visual guide for this new sound.
All right, let's put this thing into practice. We're going to start by looking at a very, very common pattern. Those little negative contractions people use in questions, usually tagged on at the end of a sentence.
Okay, so listen close. I'm going to say a phrase and I want you to try and guess what it actually means. Ready? Didn't it rain yesterday? What do you think? What is that? If you guessed didn't it, you are spot on. Now let's break down how we got there. The T in didn't kind of gets dropped, and that final T in the word it becomes that glottal stop we just learned about. Didn't. Like, it got really cold last night, did it? See how that works?
Let's try another one. The pattern is pretty similar. What am I saying here? Dooney always bring you flowers? Listen to it again. Dooney.
Yep, that was, doesn't he? He always remembers your birthday, Dooney? Again, that middle T sound just disappears and gets replaced by our new friend, the glottal stop, which blends the words together really smoothly.
Okay, one more, just to make sure this pattern really sticks in your brain. How about this one? Didn't you tell me you were moving? You promised you'd help, didn't you?
And that's exactly how didn't you turns into didn't ya. The T becomes that glottal stop, and the U softens into a j sound. You're starting to see the system behind all this, right? It's not just random noise.
So here's the rule of thumb. When you have a negative word like didn't or doesn't, and it's followed by a pronoun, that T sound in the middle very often transforms into a glottal stop. It just glues the words together into one quick, smooth sound.
Fantastic. Now that you've totally got the glottal stop down, let's go ahead and tackle our next big clue. This is another super common change, but this time it involves the word have.
So how in the world does could have become coulda? Well, it's actually a pretty simple three-step process. First, you just start with the full words. Then, that H sound in have just vanishes. It's gone. Finally, the ob sound that's left over gets really weak and turns into a simple, soft sound, which then just blends right into could, giving you coulda.
All right, puzzle time again. Using that new pattern, what does this phrase mean? I'da helped you if I knew you needed it. Listen for that weak sound on the end. I'da.
That's it. It's I would have. I would have becomes I'da. The would and the weakened have just kind of melt together. And trust me, this is one you will hear constantly once you start listening for it.
Okay, let's do one more just to lock this one in. I might have missed the train if I hadn't run. What is might'a?
Exactly. It's might'a. She might've told me, but I really can't remember. It's the exact same pattern. Might plus that weak sound gives you might'a.
So, here's our second big secret rule. Whenever a modal verb like would, could, should, or might is followed by have, that have almost always gets weak, turning into a simple sound that blends with the word right before it. This is a massive key to understanding fast, connected speech.
Okay, so we've decoded 2 huge patterns, but so what? What's the point of all this? How do you actually use this new knowledge? Well, let's talk about your new listening superpower.
And this, right here, is the most important takeaway of all. The main goal here isn't for you to immediately start speaking this way. It's about empowering your listening. Think of this as a new tool for your comprehension toolbox. The next time you're watching a show, actively listen for a coulda or a didn't. Recognizing these patterns out in the wild is what really builds true understanding and confidence.
So, now you have a key to unlock some of the biggest mysteries of fast English. But honestly, this is just the beginning. The world of spoken English is just filled with these little shortcuts and patterns. Now that you've cracked this code, what other unwritten rules have you started to notice? Keep those ears open.